Because even Christ knows going into that place alone is a dangerous thing. When we live our life modeling it to Jesus, we will see awesome things happen. When we show love and compassion instead of pointing fingers and hate, you will see miracles happen. I have many brothers in Christ that I've met through the men's meetings, through travels, through other pastors, that I know their history, I know where they come from. And I'm in awe of what God does with those men. He can take them somewhere that's so dark and so evil and pick them up and brush them off and show them a purpose and say, this is what I want you for. Amen. And when they get it, they get it. Amen. My heart is broken thinking of how many others I know of, boys and girls, men and women that I know, that are hurting and lost with no sense of hope. We can pray for salvation all we want, but it's not going to mean anything if we don't do our part. Amen. If we as a church could just show them Christ's love, think of what their witness could do for other people. I was just discussing this with Shannon. There's people, especially rebellious people. I was one of them. That you could tell me everything in the world that was right, and I'm going to tell you it's wrong. Because I don't care what you think. And if you get that same mentality and it's for Christ, think about what that person, kid, man, woman, daughter, anything, what they could do for Christ. Because they don't care what anybody else says. They'll do it. So when you see that rebellious kid that's like acting up, or you're so frustrated with, or a brother that you see that is so anti-God, you need to think of him not just as anti-God, but there's a potential soldier for Christ. Amen. Don't give up on him. Amen. John 17:20-23 means a lot to me. I read this one night. I actually read the whole chapter, but I've been in church my whole life and I've never ever heard of this. This is Jesus praying in the garden. He says, I'm praying not only for these disciples, but also for all who will ever believe in me through their message. I pray that they will all be one just as you and I are one, as you are in me, Father, and I am in you. And may they be in us so the world will believe you sent me. I have given them the glory you gave me, so they may be one as we are one. I am in them and you are in me. May they experience such perfect unity that the world will know that you sent me and that you love me just as much as you love me. Just you love them just as much as you love me. When I read that, I cried because I see that Jesus is praying for us now. Back then, because he knew what was coming, he knew what was going to happen. He knows as a church, we're going to fight. We're going to be bitter. We're going to be angry with each other. He knows we're going to gossip. He knows we're going to talk about people and tear them down because we're our worst enemy. The people of this world are watching us, waiting for us to fail. They will look at the victory and the fighting and the judging and say, why do we want what they have? They're worse than the friends I already hang out with. I left church a long time because of that. I hated church. The politics and the drama. I just didn't want it. As a pastor's son, you see everything. Everything. If they see us working together, loving, reaching, serving, joyfully, willing, being Christ's testimony of love, we'll make an impact in this community and the world. And they will want what we have because we're truly happy. So where do we start? I challenge you to start with the people you already know. Ones you already have relationships with, friends, family, co-workers, classmates. Ask them simple stuff. It doesn't have to be hard. I tell the youth, they're like, well, what do I do? The kid that's sitting at a lunch table by themselves, you sit with them. When you're at work, someone that you can tell that something's bothering you, don't just pass them by. Talk to them. Ask them, can I pray for you? And the worst they can say is no. You can invite them here. The worst they can say is no. You can say, I just need to listen. Do you want to talk? The worst they can say is no. The thing that gets me is that we twist things so much and we make it so hard that it has to be some kind of program, some kind of rhetoric that we say to get somebody to come to church. It has nothing to do with that. Just be real with them. The church has been coasting, and we all know it. We coast. We want to ride the fence. We want to still do the stuff that we want to do, but come to church and be holier than thou on Sunday. We want to say, well, I'm going to watch or do this, or I'm going to listen to this, but I love Jesus. We can't do both. We become schizophrenic. You'll start arguing with each other in your head. It's true. You're like, oh, I can watch this because I can handle it. So it's got some cuss words in it. I'm okay, I won't say them. So it's got some nudity in it. It's okay. I'm a child of God. I can take care of that. I'm all right. We're so twisted. It's time to do what we were commissioned to do. It's time to win souls for Christ. If you saw somebody on a train track and a train was coming at them, would you sit there and be like, someone else will push him out of the way? Somebody else will pray for him. Someone else will take him. Or would you go do something about it? Because that's what it comes down to. How many here have had somebody that they lost, that they weren't sure where they were going when they died? And I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad or feel guilty, but if we follow what Christ tells us to do, if you ever had a question, I've had many friends and family that have died, and I didn't know where they were going because I didn't ask. Just because you were raised in church doesn't mean you're going to heaven. I have a cousin that passed, he's the same age as me, he passed away last year. I have no idea where he went. He called me 3 times. 3 times wanted to talk. But because I thought he was nuts, because he acted weird, because he would talk your ear off, I was like, well, I'll call you back. I live with him. We have got to quit thinking about ourselves. I love Christ Church. I love this church. I love coming here to worship and hearing His Word. I love having support. But it's not about me. It's about Him and His kingdom. The battlefield's not in here. It's out there. There is a purpose for everyone. And that purpose is to make disciples. Disciples that make disciples. And so on and so on. We are made in His image, whether we like it or not. And are we showing it? Why would people want Jesus if it didn't change you? So how do you deal with the world? Do you try to act normal and try to be like everybody else? Or do you show Christ's face? Today, I just like to challenge you to really think about where you are and what's important to you. Because for me, it's not necessarily, it's not necessarily all of you that I'm worried about. I'm worried about everybody out there. We get teaching from Shannon, we get teaching from all the people that volunteer, we get teaching from at Rangers and Impact, we get teaching from the Bible studies, but they don't get nothing. And I've seen what he can do with people that don't know anything. And it's awesome. I just want you to know that if you guys need help, or if anybody wants me to come with them and talk to somebody, I have no problem doing that. And as a church, we need to be united and do this together.
Amen.
So, that's all I have.